Yes, Dr.
Hello.
Seema, you are very much visible. Yes, Dr. Seema, we can see you.
Hi. Hi to everyone. Hi.
Hi.
Sorry,
Thanks for joining us, Dr. Seema.
yeah, I had one emergency, so I had to rush in. That's why I became late. I'm really sorry, guys.
No problem.
So
Thank you.
tell me,
So,
what are you asking me? I just missed the question.
so the question we have discussed till now, what is PCOS and how does it affect diabetes and metabolic syndrome with PCOS? So Dr. Brinda has explained. She's an endocrinologist and diabetologist from Hyderabad. We
Okay.
have Miss Gayatri, senior dietitian. We have Miss Alekhya, Miss Kirti,
Hello.
Dr.
Hi to everyone.
So,
And
Dr.
Dr. When I joined, you were talking something about HbA1c not being very consistent. Can you just repeat it, please?
I was just mentioning that I think, of course, this is based on the data that we have, that oral glucose tolerance test seems to fare a little bit better compared to hemoglobin A1c in picking up like impaired glucose tolerance. So,
Yes.
when you value, like when you put value in terms of diagnosing a disease early on, and, then putting preventative measures or, even initial treatment efforts towards treatment of glucose intolerance or type 2 diabetes, I think I prefer using oral glucose tolerance
So
test.
that same is my preference as well, but sometimes patient is not able
Yes.
to keep fasting for that long, and we are
Yeah.
going for HbA1c. And I used to think that is my personal preference that I want to go with GTT. But is there clinical data evidence available that HbA1c GTT is better than HbA1c? Do you mean to say?
Because we don't have very long-term studies, so the limited data that we have on patients with PCOD seems to say that
And
HbA1c sometimes is less sensitive in picking up. So,
yeah,
if
its
you,
specificity is greater
yes,
than its sensitivity, and
right.
most of the time when I'm looking at those nanomole values in front of me, I'm more satisfied and like convinced that yeah, this patient needs to be a tight glycemic control. So that could be one reason. Yeah, thank you so much. So
I mean, just to add, like sometimes, like you said, certain patients are not interested in sitting down for a few hours. So then I do my assessment, maybe I can combine a fasting blood sugar, check an A1c simultaneously. Sometimes I check for their fasting insulin levels, C-peptide levels. So, sometimes in combination, we can make a diagnosis.
yeah, that got one thing in my mind. HbA1c could be normal even in a frank diabetic, especially G6P, glucose 6 phosphatase deficiency, and certain conditions where you cannot rely on HbA1c as a glycemic marker. These patients, they have to go for GTT. I just remembered, so I just wanted to add for them also GTT is a
Better.
better option. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Brinda. Thank you, Dr. Seema. We'll just give you a brief introduction. Dr. Seema is renowned IVF specialist from a specialist and ISAR committee member from Azamgarh. Dr. Seema, our viewers would like to know that some of the women don't get period without medication during PCOS. So could you please tell us that how it affects the reproductive system and overall health?
Yes, uh, Shami, no?
Sharmi, yes.
Shami, this is actually there are two things. Getting periods associated with our femininity, and that is the part our patients take at. They think if they are not getting their periods regularly, they are not going to get conceived, and there is something wrong inside their body. They are not wrong in a way that that whole hormonal cycle is somewhere disturbed, but overall for their childbearing and everything, it is not going to affect. That's what I keep telling them, that even if you are getting just drug withdrawal, as long as your endometrium is not very thick, it's not going that way. I try to tell them that quantity of endometrium that is made during that particular cycle that decides how much menses are you going to get or you are not going to get, or whether you are ovulatory one or inovulatory one. If you are not ovulating, then chances of your getting your period regularly are not there, and you don't have to worry about that. That is the first thing. And second thing, they are concerned about very minimal quantity. Doctor, I just get spotting and that color is blackish and things. These things, they do not matter as long as we get the tight control of all her hormones and this insulin resistance, hyperinsulinemia, and all other factors. If they are well controlled, there is no reason that this particular lady who is just getting drug withdrawal will not get pregnant. They just have to remember every PCOS woman get the exactly similar chance of getting pregnant as others, but they get it with difficulty, 10 times more difficulty than the normal counterpart. Their friends who are not PCOS, they conceive easily. These girls, they take time. But overall, per woman child ratio is almost similar in both the populations.
Thank you. So again, coming back to diabetes, and it affects on overall weight gain, other issues. So evidence says that diet and fitness plays a bigger role in PCOS. Ms. Gayatri, would you like to add on something, that what type of diet this PCOS patient should take in? Could you suggest something on diet part?
Sure. Good evening to all the panel members and to the viewers as well. It's a pleasure to have you all here in this forum. Well, as far as diet is concerned with PCOS, it's just that we need to be very careful and conscious of what kind of food we pick and choose. And we need to have a balanced diet. And as Dr. Archana and Dr. Brinda rightly mentioned, since this is purely a hormonal imbalance, related issue, and this is also, most of the women also have insulin resistance. So which is, definitely a major cause of concern. So the diet is more similar to that of a type 2 diabetic diet, like, just how a diabetic patient will take. So, of course, this has to be a balanced meal with adequate amount of fiber and a lot of complex carbs and good amount of lean protein. Now, so here when we talk about fiber, we need to have at least 40 grams of fiber in a daily meal, reducing the sugar intake and having a good fat in the sense, a combination of MUFA and PUFA, having a healthy fat and restricting the oil consumption, and along with a good exercise regime as well. So it is just that we need to, be very careful in picking the right choice of food. So I think that should be good enough.
Dr. Seema?
Yes. Yes. And that is, in this era of Google, they keep Googling about diet, food, this to eat, not to eat. And then they come and ask me, madam, somebody has told me if I take dairy products, my PCO will get worse. I will not conceive. Do you think so? Should I stop taking? Few patients of mine, they take black tea for years together because somebody has told them that if you take dairy products, you are not going to get pregnant because your PCOS will not be cured. What is your take on that? I really want to.
Doctor, well, here, like how our, great grandmothers told us, eat anything in moderation.
Yes.
Is the main funda logic here, and eat your food like your medicine. So some people tend to overeat, either due to psychological factors or, due to depression. So, or they don't have control over what they eat. So all these matters a lot. So anything can be taken. In fact, completely, getting excluded with your dairy products is also not a good choice, because they also have essential amino acids for vegetarians like tryptophan and, other essential amino acids, which is definitely, needed for patients who are on a vegetarian diet. So here, anything in moderation would be the best logic to go with. And just trying to spread it out, and trying to have a very disciplined and systematic regime matters a lot. And maybe they can just relax once in 15 days with what they like, and just to give themselves the psychological satisfaction. Otherwise, following a very disciplined and consistent regime is definitely essential here.
You are not following any particular Mediterranean diet, keto diet, this diet, that diet for your patients when you're subscribing these diets to your patients?
In case of PCOS, not exactly. I because I feel they should have a balanced meal and having adequate amount of fiber. Again, which having a low glycemic index food matters a lot here, as you're well aware, because which doesn't rapidly increase the blood glucose level, and having more complex carbs and adequate fiber is going to help us in that matter, that there's a very slow and steady rise of glucose in the blood. So that is very important and crucial for any PCOS. So that, and also taking into consideration their lipid profile. So which is going to parallelly work hand in hand.